The Langston DHI laboratory is associated with Texas DHI. We did not have 30,000 goats on test in the United States, and we did not have the $20,000 to establish our laboratory. Today what we're doing is training you on the paperwork and how to fill that out. From here on out we'll be working with the Langston program instead of the Raleigh program. This replaces the Raleigh DRPC program. As we go through here, you'll realize that there's more goat terminology, and it will be tailored towards the goats. Okay, on the DMS 213, the first section of this is herd identification, which is the most important section of DHI testing. The herd code number gives you state, county, and herd number. So within each state, there is a number that is given to that herd through National DHI. Each county is identified, and then within each county there is a herd identification solely for that herd. The SA is a service affiliate. That number comes back pre-printed from here on out as a 74, which we are under the Texas umbrella, which is number 74. The type of test should come back pre-printed DHIR 20 if you were on standard test. There are several test plans that a person could be on. Every other month, which is DHIR 27, or DHIR APCS 22. APCS is AM/PM component sampling. If you have chosen DHIR 20 through ADGA or through AGS, make sure that your registry knows that that's the program that you're on. Please make sure that your paperwork says that it's on DHIR 20. The test herd information, the first line you should use your ADGA membership or your AGS membership. That way, if you're going for a STAR program, you are more likely going to be recognized more readily through the system. And it just helps Elizabeth Stoner at ADGA with that paperwork. The second line could be any other name that you want to use there besides your ADGA membership. The third line is the address of where you want to receive your mail. A telephone number is extremely important. If there's something wrong with the paperwork that we need to get in touch with the tester or with the producer as to when you dried off an animal or who died and what date, it is extremely helpful if we have a telephone to call somebody. Also, if a milk sample spilled, you may want to know that. The last line in this section here, we need the town that you live in, the state, and the zip code. Okay, on the upper right-hand corner of the paperwork is other herd data. There's a section in here for bulk tank weights if a producer is shipping milk. This here could be used as a verification if somebody is on an APCS code. Okay, the supervisor number will be a number that is assigned to you through Texas DHIA after the first test has been performed. Is the entire herd milked 3 times a day? It's a yes or no question. The records are weighted depending on what that answer is to that question, so it's important to fill that in. The date of the test will come back pre-printed as to the last date of the test. The date of the test that you fill in here, if you took milk weights tonight and you also took milk weights in the morning, you would put in tomorrow's date of test. It's when you finish the test for that herd for that month. In this section, milking start time and end time is extremely important to fill that out, especially on the different programs that are available, because based on the time interval is how AIPL rates the genetic database that we have. Okay, so on your first milking you would write in the start time. It doesn't have to be military time, and then circle AM or PM, and when it was finished, AM or PM. Was the sample weighed, or was it sampled? Yes or no, and was the milk weighed? Yes or no. Just circle those as you're going along. The second milking would go into the second line, AM or PM, end time, AM or PM, sampled and weighed, yes or no. Now if this is a verification test, the first official milking would actually go into the second milking. The first milking would be considered when the udder was milked out. You need to put these times in here, and you need to do those 3 milkings no matter what plan you're on. The reason we're asking for that is because then there's no question about the verification test. We will also come back with the date that it was received at the lab, pre-printed, the date it was mailed from the lab, the date it was received at the DRPC or the DMS, which is what we're serving as, and the date mailed from the DMS. What we're figuring is the day that the milk samples come in, the following day the paperwork will be going out, which means the turnaround time will be decreased dramatically from what it has been in the past couple of years. With our program, we are offering the bare basics, if you will. We are not going to offer as much as you will find with the other dairy records processing centers right off the bat. We are trying to develop this program to serve the goat producers. The VWP is the voluntary waiting period in the herd options section, which is how long you're going to wait to breed back those animals. In a cow industry setting, that voluntary waiting period will always be 60. But in a goat industry setting, you may want to look at 150 days, since that is, 5 or 6 months after she's freshened. We have doe page. There's an option none, always, and standard. Always means that you will receive it every month. The standard means that you will receive it after the doe has been dried off or she has reached her 305 days in lactation. The kid identity listing, there's a none, always, and standard. Always means that every month you'll receive it. Standard means that you'll receive it after all the does have freshened. In the breed code section, we have allowed for every breed that we can possibly think of in the goat industry. We also have room to expand this as other breeds get recognized in the different breed organizations, which is a kind of an additive incentive for our program. Some programs don't allow that. In the new goats entering the herd or identity correction is a section in which any new doe entering the herd or any new herd coming on test would fill this out. There's 2 lines in here that give you enough room to fill in all the information on all the does that come into the herd. The index number is a number that you assign to your does. The DRPC or our DMS will not be assigning those numbers unless you leave that blank. In order to assign those numbers, there's a way to put it in alphabetical order by name and numerical order by index number if you choose. If you have a lot of A's in your herd, you might want to start at 00100 and go to as far as 0300, leaving spaces in there as those does kid throughout the following years. As far as that, you can go as high as 10,000 in a number. But it allows you to automatically assign the does the numbers that you want, or by name, so that we can keep them in alphabetical order and numerical order. From there we go into the doe information itself. You would write in her registration number or her ear tag number, and at the bottom of that there's room for 9 spaces for a barn name. This is another added feature. No longer will we be using 6 or 7 spaces. If you have a doe that's named Barbara, she will fit in here. The next column is breed, the lactation number that she is on at that time, her body weight. We're taping the animals right now to get an estimate of the body weights of the animals out there so that we can further develop the feed program that we're working on, which will be tailored to the goat industry itself. We need the doe's date of birth, which is month, day, and year, her dam's registration number and barn name, the breed of that dam, the sire of this doe, his registration number and barn name, and his breed number, or breed letter. If this doe is freshened and you want to put in her kid, it would be the kid's sire ID, or the sire of that kid that brought that doe into lactation this year. So you would put in his identification number and registration number.